Welcome to Next Time Around, brought to you by Powerverse, the podcast where we take on the big questions of the green transition and explore how the world is changing for a cleaner, brighter future. We're your hosts, Lauren Forster
and Richard Britton.
And we'll be diving into the tech, the policies and the big ideas that are reshaping industries and people's lives. Whether it's cutting edge technology or shifting priorities, we're here to figure out what it all means for you and the world that we're building for tomorrow. So get ready as we take a fresh look at how changes today are laying the groundwork for a better next time around. Welcome back, Richard.
Welcome back, Lauren, to Next Time Around.
Kicking off season 2 today, which is very exciting.
Very exciting.
So for those who are new to listening to Next Time Round, welcome. And to those who are coming back for season 2, then welcome back.
So, Lauren, maybe a good place to start. Why don't we remind our listeners why we started this podcast?
Yeah, we started this podcast because we wanted to make energy more accessible for people. Powerverse really stands for allowing people to unthink energy. And that kind of comes in multiple ways. Obviously, how you use your energy in your home yourself, how you can make that more accessible in terms of saving money on your bills, understanding more about the carbon that you use to become more sustainable, but also demystifying the fake news, the interesting, things that we find interesting, I'd say, but things around energy so that you can make the right decisions for how you use it. Also covering key things like the way people use energy is changing.
So it's not just for people in their homes using electricity every day. We want to really get to the heart of these things so that people in businesses understand more as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite an evolving world. There's new things happening every few months. There's changes in policy that are constantly coming out from the government as well. So making those part of the discussion and talking about the solutions that are out there as well.
That's it. We don't talk about it frequently, we'll miss the new stuff as it happens. And hopefully our audience are going to be more educated as they listen to each of the new episodes, and really exciting to be doing a new season.
Yeah, definitely. And on the new season, we're going to take a slightly different angle as well. We're going to cover a bit more of the behind the scenes to Powerverse. Season 1 very much talked about some of the key issues within the market, but really we want to talk a bit more about Powerverse.
That's going to be exciting because we've moved on a lot since we recorded the first series, and hopefully our listeners will get a chance to hear some of those changes. Perhaps it's helpful if we give people who haven't listened before an introduction so they know who we are.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm Lauren Forster and I'm Head of Marketing at Powerverse.
And I'm Richard Britton and I am Chief Executive at Powerverse. And together we make up your hosts of Next Time Around. And we'll try and take you through some of these topics which at first appearances may seem a bit dry, but actually are very important to the way the world is moving and how it's changing and to decarbonising. Yeah, great to be back and looking forward to telling you all about what we've been up to.
Yeah, attempting to make it interesting for other people, really. It's going to be a great season. I'm really looking forward to it. So the teams have been really busy since the start of the year. We've had a lot of movement within Powerverse. So do you want to give us a bit of an update on our progress?
It's been a really exciting year, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And a lot's gone on. Certainly, there's been some big shifts as well. I suppose when we started recording, Powerverse had been in the market for about 18 months. And we'd got this really good germ of an idea for a business and some really good technology and IP that we were using to base that on. We probably didn't talk last time, but Powerverse was a carve out from the world's largest commercial solar company, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's LightSource. And we carved out this software part of the business because it had just some really excellent, rock solid capability built up over 6 years around how do you manage power flows? How do you manage the flow of energy around a home? How do you make sure that you're using the right energy at the right time, whether that's from the grid or that you generated from your rooftop? And then when you introduce electric vehicles into the mix, how do you make sure that you're using the cleanest, greenest energy? So we carved this out. And I suppose when we recorded season 1, we'd been going through the process of proving that this stuff really worked. So we built actually quite a big network of our own customers where we went out and sold directly to consumers electric vehicle chargers that they could connect to their home. And some of them have solar, some of them have heat pumps, and some of them have home batteries. And what we wanted to show was that we could manage those power flows using our pretty clever platform to do that. But things have moved on a lot since then, because actually we've been successfully kind of getting customers on there and recognized it was the right time to start to offer these capabilities to other companies, because we're a software company and we were never going to sell electric vehicle chargers forever. It was about proving that it works so we could then go and sell the software that powers all of that to other businesses.
And what we found when we were doing D2C or direct to consumer is there was good traction. We were testing out the app. There was a lot of good positive feedback about our app and the platform behind that. And that then led us to sell it on to other businesses. So how has that developed since the start of the year?
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question. I suppose we'd always planned to begin selling our software to other businesses after we'd proved what we needed to. So the first big tick in the year for us was that proof that the consumers would buy our software, liked using our software, and most importantly, that using Raya, our own AI, we were able to manage those power flows and schedule the different uses of energy in those different devices at the right time. And having proven that, we began looking for customers that we could work with who would be able to serve their own end users with our platform. And, there's a real need in the market, because if you look at any one of those categories of devices, if you look at heat pumps or you look at home batteries or EV chargers, the manufacturers that make that technology very much focused on building really good kit. But it doesn't mean actually that they're the best placed to produce the software to make it all work together. The conversation we started having with them was, imagine if you had to have a way of connecting all of this up, an operating system, and that wouldn't be a first. You think of Android as an operating system used by lots of different mobile phone producers, but actually they rely on Android to be the software, the operating system that makes it all run well together. So that's what we've done. We've built the energy operating system. The energy operating system runs the home. It runs how the energy is generated, how the energy is stored and consumed, and does that across all of those different devices. So we went out and started selling this proposition to other businesses, and we talked to them about our energy operating system and what's under the hood inside that, which, if you'd like, I can tell you more about.
Yeah, I guess it would be great to cover why the energy operating system is really useful for businesses out there, because the EOS, or the energy operating system, is something that appeals to many. It could be for house builders, it could be for OEM charger manufacturers, it could be for energy retailers, but really what makes it so appealing to those markets?
Yeah, you're right. There's lots of different types of businesses that actually need an energy operating system. If you ask why, we're going through this massive change at the moment where the world's trying to get rid of fossil fuels, and that's a good thing. And I think everyone knows about that now. But the subtleties to how we do that are the bits that are less well understood. You hear the headlines about stopping burning coal, using oil, shifting to renewable electricity, renewable energy. And there's lots in the press about wind farms. There's lots in the press about solar farms. And what those things do is completely change the way energy is produced, where it's produced, when it's produced, and therefore how it gets used and what the options for its use are. So the energy operating system is addressing this business problem. It's like a once in a century type issue. You think that there have been massive changes before. The technologies that run the world have all changed before. We had horses and carts, and then we had canals, and then we had railways, and then we had motor cars. And each time those things happened, those new innovations came along, all of the value chains around them were completely broken apart and rebuilt. And it wouldn't be overstating it to say that that's what's happening now in energy, with a complete kind of reorganization around how those value chains work for the types of businesses you talked about. So for automotive companies moving to electric vehicles, for energy companies and energy retailers working out what their role in this is, for those original equipment manufacturers, those OEMs in EV chargers, making the chargers, or for a host of other businesses that serve the home. And so that's why an energy operating system's needed. Back to the Android example, no one needed a mobile operating system before mobile phones were invented. But once they were, they did. And that's where we are with energy.
So essentially, it's stripping out everything that kind of was happening before and starting all over again. And these companies need to pivot, because if they don't pivot, then they can't take advantage of the new opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was having a conversation with one of the larger vehicle leasing companies quite recently, and they, very successful finance business. They've been financing motor cars for a long time, and they make their margin on the finance that they provide, and they do that frequently to big enterprises, to companies. I said, do you recognize what's happening at the moment? Because 10% of the cars in your fleet now are not running on combustion engines. 10% of them are running on batteries. And have you thought about how much battery capacity that's there? And have you thought about how much energy that sits in those? And have you realized actually you're becoming an energy company? Because by the time your whole fleet has become electrified, you're going to have millions of batteries on wheels sitting all over the place. And what you do with those, in terms of when you charge them up, how long they hold the charge for, when they get discharged, makes you an energy trader. And if you're not thinking about that now, and you're just thinking about selling a different vehicle, then you're missing the point, because the world's changing. And that's just one example.
Yeah, the door is opening for new companies to come in and be part of that energy value chain. And they previously haven't been part of it. It's something that they need to be thinking about, because the tech's there, solutions are there for them to be able to take advantage. So I think this is a great time if we could talk about the changes that are happening to policy for house builders, essentially. The government have come out and said the future home standard is that EV chargers must be on any future new homes. Same with solar. And this will develop into other devices as well in the future. So what impact is this having on house builders?
Well, really, kind of despite what people commonly think, the construction industry is quite tough and margins are really under pressure. And this has happened over the last 4 or 5 years, particularly where labour costs have gone up and actually material costs have gone up as well, at the same time as lots of new regulations come in. And so it's harder to make money when you build on a site. And as a result, there've got to be better ways for these companies to monetize those assets that they're building and selling on. And actually, when you think about new housing estates in the same way as the story I just described with the vehicle leasing company, you're building a local power plant if each of those homes has got the ability to generate electricity through rooftop solar and the ability to store electricity either in the car battery or in the home battery. And so for the builders and the companies involved in the construction, if they make smart decisions around the choice of the equipment they use and the tech that they use to join it all up, there's potentially money to be made there, additional revenue, additional margins that recur for them for years and years to come. But it does require that smart decision around what they select. That's why we provide a platform that can connect those things up and then connect it into the wider energy sector, where we're looking at things like the price of electricity, whether the rooftop solar is going to produce energy tomorrow. And we're also providing that trust mark, which runs on Raya. Raya is our AI, but if a device or a piece of kit doesn't work with it, then of course we can't help optimize those sites. We can't be the future energy optimizers for those homes. But if they make smart procurement decisions in those building companies, they can buy the right kit that will then deliver that yield from those local power plants that they're creating.
Yeah. So essentially it's passive income from the point of the EV charger being put on the wall. So you're going to have to do that anyway. You're going to have to install that charger, but why not make more from it rather than it being a cost and a compliance that, like, your tick box that you have to do? Actually let that be optimized for you and you kind of take the rewards from it. And I think it's a really interesting point what you're saying around quality. There's a lot of devices and not a lot of EV chargers in the market. There's new entrants with the Chinese manufacturers coming on to the market. But how can you ensure that people are investing in quality product that is going to take them to the future and it's not going to be an inconvenience for them. It's a really key part of the journey that needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I think so. I've probably overused it now, but I'm going to come back to my mobile phone analogy as it comes to mind. Certainly, I'm old enough to remember the handsets that people were using in the 1990s and,
Yeah.
and the early 2000s.
The
And
3310, are we allowed to say
yeah,
it?
3310.
Yeah.
Great phone. Such a great example, actually, because if you think about what mobile phones used to be, they were solid and they're standalone and they do their job on their own, but there wasn't really an awful lot of internet connection. There was certainly there was no need for them to connect to other systems and services. And now we just look at it as everything has to be connected. Your phone and all of the apps in it are connected to smart kind of back end cloud systems for the apps that you use. You've got authentication services with your bank and all sorts of stuff, and it all works and interoperates. So imagine the energy world moving that way. And if you're choosing bits of hardware, you're choosing devices for your home, thinking about making sure those devices are smart and that they will work and they are connected. And those things need an energy operating system. You know, Powerverse probably isn't the only company that's ever going to do this, but these are considerations for the consumer, but they're also considerations for the big enterprises that are changing. So if you think about my car leasing example, it'd be very easy for that car leasing company just to say, okay, well, that's fine. We're shifting new units. These are battery powered cars. And the end user, the homeowner, can choose a charger and do what they like, really. But that's missing the bigger picture and missing the opportunity. If they pull that together through one end-to-end system, they can actually delight their customers with better services and they can monetize it themselves all the better.
Yeah, great. So there's a lot of food for thought and a lot of opportunity in this space. And really, it's the first ones who get there that will be the ones that win. Yeah, we talked about the opportunities for the businesses out there, but I think it's great if we talk through what's happening at the business, what we've done to make this happen in terms of like what's been going on with the people here.
Yeah, this is the bit I really like because this is where we spend our time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The market's there, and we've talked a lot about that, but it's the people in our business that are making the energy operating system happen. And so it's great that you bring it up. First of all, everyone in Powerverse, I think, kind of knows that it's about making our customers successful and the end users that they service. And I know that sounds cliched, but actually, because we come from a technology lab originally, we were part of Lightsource and the IP that was in there. The software came out of a technology lab, so it would be very easy for that to be quite technical and product orientated. But what we've tried really hard to do is instill a culture of what does the customer need? Let's focus on making that journey from good ideas and nice product to successful kind of businesses working with us, making that come to life. So all of our people, I think, are getting more and more embedded in that culture. And it's interesting because as that's happened over the last year, some people have thrived on it and really got into that. Some people have decided that they like the culture that was in that lab environment and decided to do other things. When you get that cultural bit right, and I'm not saying we've got it all right, but we're trying, aren't we? It brings a real focus around what the company is trying to achieve. So I'd say, as we're trying to promote a culture of being authentic and connected between the people that are in the business, that's exciting. I feel like the working world has changed a lot over the last decade, and there was much more of an expectation to show up with a game face and follow the kind of corporate line in the past. And now what everybody realizes is that being able to be yourself and bring the best of what you can do to your work in a creative way, it's not only a more comfortable experience, but also delivers on productivity as well, because people are bringing their best selves and their best efforts to work. I sort of turn that around a little bit as we're trying to work on this culture and people. What do you think?
Especially this year, there's been a lot of working together with teams, getting a lot closer, making sure that communication's improved. And that kind of feedback from the sales team, from what they hear, goes into the product engineering teams and vice versa from customer operations back up, kind of so that all of the team are working towards that one goal. Just to your point on like how business has changed, obviously like pre-COVID, it was working in the office 5 days a week, no flexibility. I think what we have here is a really flexible environment which allows people to grow and allows people to be creative, own what they do, and take that ownership to kind of deliver what they can. And like yourself and I are like more facilitators and allow people to do that. So I've definitely seen that movement this year within Powerverse, which is great. And I think that comes through with what's happening internally.
Yeah, totally. And I think those things which are empowering people are also, you hope in the end empowering our customers and the end users to have better product. I'm thinking a great customer of ours, obviously we work with Cord, who are one of the leading charger manufacturers and installers in the country. Like, for example, they have a strategic partnership with Halfords and do all of their home charging and home electrification work for them. So it's a real privilege to work with businesses such as them, and hopefully we'll hear from them at some point on the podcast themselves. It's our people and culture that allow us to do our best work and get us in a position to have customers like that, I think, to your point.
Yeah, definitely. And we've expanded a lot if we're just going to talk about the people. So we originally, I think, were in just 3 countries last year. Now we are in.
Yeah, so we've always been a flexible employer, haven't we? So we've had a mix of kind of UK HQ people and then in other countries as well. And we've got our team that you mentioned that was there last year in Ireland, in Limerick, and their specialism is very much around, they have our lab there and they're focused on the hardware and the embedded software and making sure all of that works. And we've also got the UK, and we had a couple of people working remotely in Spain as well. Beyond that now, we've sort of got a follow the sun software development lifecycle going on, because we've got our team in Chennai that are building a lot of our software. We've got our testing team in Kuala Lumpur that are testing a lot of our software. We found a win-win supporting a software team in Ukraine where there is enormous talent and great capability. And at the same time, we're putting money into that economy at a very important time for them. We have other remote workers as well in other locations like Greece and Croatia and more. So that flexibility that you talk about to empower people to do their best work doesn't just relate to people in our London team.
Yeah, I think it's in 8 countries overall and growing. So it's been a busy 6 months since season 1.
It has been a busy few months. It has been a busy few months indeed. So yeah, so I'm really excited about the way the team's coming together and working together from lots of different locations. Maybe let's just talk for a minute about some of the good work that marketing are doing. They're one of the teams that are operating in this way.
Yeah, of course, it's a really exciting time in marketing. We're growing. I've got a number of new members within my team this year, and we're working on some really interesting content as well. I guess focusing on something that's been quite recent is we've run a webinar on how to unlock the value of home energy data. And this is great for us because it's virtual, it's accessible online, it's content that can be used and viewed by multiple different audiences. And it's a key topic for us to be focusing on at this point.
That's right. So the energy data and what companies can do with that is super important to them setting out the right strategy and being able to give a better service and make money on it. And, I love the fact that you and your team are making such good headway with webinars, because, webinars were like quite niche compared to mainstream physical events, but actually, and more companies are doing this, but turning it on its head and making webinars a kind of central pillar of the marketing mix, is treating those virtual events as a real opportunity. And I think, as you're bringing people through the funnel, that's a great way to educate them.
Yeah, definitely. We've had really good engagement from them. It's a core topic, as I said, that's in the market at the moment. I think there's a lot of interest in it. And so being able to talk to the market around that and the value that it can provide is key. And my team are doing a fantastic job. So onwards and upwards, we've got many more webinars coming up. So if you're enjoying listening to the podcast, then I think the webinar would be the next step to go to.
Absolutely. Please listen. Please join. And we get some good guests on there as well, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I think also with season 2 here, with the webinars, we get some really good conversations with experts within the industry that really allow us to open up and talk about what this can do for people. I don't want to give too much away because otherwise people won't be going to listen to the webinars. So go to the Powerverse website if you want to listen to any of them.
I'm really looking forward to this season. I think there's so many interesting people that we're going to be talking to. And as we said up front, as this market keeps moving quickly, it's good to have those kind of touch points onto what's happening right at the coalface of all of this. If I can use a term like coalface in this podcast. And so for our season 2 listeners, I think I heard you say earlier, we are trying to cover the topics of unthinking energy. And that means, how do you make energy more simple as all of these new complex things are coming along, like how do you run a smart home? But also for those people in business, you talked about enterprises and how they need to change. And we're trying to get our message across to the people that want to make those changes happen, aren't we? The sort of the agents for change in companies who want to learn more about the smart energy sector. So what sort of things might they be able to take away from season 2 if maybe they didn't listen to season 1 and this is going to be all new to them?
Yeah, so I think for those people who want to be change makers or who are really keen to learn more about this and how what we do can positively impact their business, is they'll take away what the energy operating system does, what the new opportunities are within this space that they can bring to their company early and be like early adopters within that. How actually this space is not just for those who already exist. There's new opportunities here for those who don't operate in this space. And it's very evolving, as you said, like it used to be the horse and cart, now it's the electric vehicle, and it's going to be so much more than just the electric vehicle into like full home energy management. So there is always a space for new people. It's just, how can you get there? And we're going to hopefully help you understand that.
Looking forward to it.
So I think we're coming towards the end of the podcast. So I have a question that I'd like to ask you, and it's, what are you most excited about for Powerverse this year?
Thank you. Well, there's a lot to be excited about, and we've talked about a lot of it already. I think the thing that would stand out for me at the moment is we've been through this maturing as a business and with our product, and that puts us in a great position now to sort of really expand in the market. I'm really looking forward to us getting thousands and thousands more end users, homes onto our platform, where we are those future energy optimizers that's actually saving carbon, but also saving cost for them as well. And the way we're doing that is with some of the great partnerships, customers like the ones I've talked about. And I think where we've got to from a maturity point of view, there's going to be more and more of those big enterprises that can adopt Powerverse and make that transformation. So that's what I'm excited about.
Sounds like it's going to be a good year.
Certainly is. Certainly is. Lots of good stuff to happen.
Great. Well, thanks everyone for listening today, and really looking forward to having more conversations in season 2.
I'm looking forward to those as well. Thanks for the conversation today, Lauren.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn by searching Powerverse, or share it with someone who might find it helpful. To find out more about our software, visit our website, www.powerverse.com. Thanks for listening to Next Time Around. Until next time.